Tonight, dropping complaints against police. India continues to pledge elections aid. And conservation officers for provincial councils. Good evening. The re-establishment of the Fiji Police Force's Internal Affairs Division has resulted in better coordination of complaints against police officers. It has also led to further planning to devise better ways to handle concerns brought against law enforcement officers.
Since its re-establishment in November, the Internal Affairs Division has noted a reduction in complaints on a monthly basis. A lot of these were related to the turnaround time in dealing with the complaints.
Most of our members of the public cannot wait for 3 months. That's why the increase in complaints. People are coming after 1 week. Of course, some of the investigations you can't really determine within 1 week. What's the angle, what's the line of investigations to be taken, who is to be followed, the ingredients of the offences to be proved. These are issues that needs to be determined.
Previously, divisional police commanders handled these concerns, all that was centralized to police headquarters. Cases are investigated and officers dealt with accordingly.
I assure you, police officers are taken to task every now and then. My unit is responsible for ethical and discipline standards of the force, and we maintain that to the letter of the word. People are taken to task, people are being disciplined, people are being directed, ordered, given final warning, and all those kind of disciplinary precautions have been taken.
The Fiji Police Force is now strategizing ways to deal with the complaints cohesively.
Our strategic planning team is working on a service charter, whereby we want to communicate to every member of the public for certain types of offences. We can render services within this period. For certain types of offences, we can render services within this period. As I've said, different offences require different levels of commitment by the police.
In the meantime, the following contacts continue to be disseminated widely in an effort to improve services holistically. Amelia Vunilamba, Fiji One News.
The Chinese embassy in Fiji is already engaged in talks with the government on areas they can assist us in our preparations for general elections in September. Chinese Ambassador Huang Yong says they're working closely with their Fijian counterparts to finalize when they can lend their assistance.
We would like to provide some assistance to fulfill what you need. And now we discuss with Fiji government and different peoples, and only one purpose is that we want the Fiji society get more prosperous and success.
The Chinese government knows assistance from foreign missions means a lot to the Fijian people as the country prepares for elections and the return to democratic rule.
This year is important for the Fiji people to make their election and to pursue the truly democracy and to pursue the happy and bright future. I congratulate to the Fiji people. We wish you can get the successful.
India celebrates its 65th Republic Day on January 26th every year. It's a significant date for the country as it commemorates the day its constitution became effective. But despite heading into the polls sooner than us this year, the Indian government maintains that it will assist our preparations for elections in September.
Indian nationals gathered at the High Commissioner's residence this morning to celebrate the 65th Republic Day. It's a significant event for the country, one they commemorate on January 26th. With elections in India earmarked for April or May, its head of state says that elections is not just about winning.
As we head towards elections, as our Honorable President said in his message, that it is not really relevant who forms the government. What is relevant is that whoever forms the government is committed to the progress of the country, committed to the progress of the people, and discharges his functions honestly and with commitment.
With our preparations for elections here at home now truly underway, the High Commission continues to engage in talks with government to determine what assistance they can provide.
For instance, there are some people who are from here whom we have said that because we have a functioning parliament in India for many years, if there is something for which we can provide training or something, we would be very happy to do that.
India, like other countries, has pledged their own form of assistance.
We have also offered to provide indelible ink which is used in the elections. As you know, they put the ink on the finger. India is one of the very few countries in the world that produce this ink. So we have offered to provide this ink for use here.
And as India reflects on its Republic Day, the message from its president was quite clear. Its finest assets are its people. Amelia Vunilemba, Fiji One News.
Government will have conservation officers based at provincial councils around the country. This is one of the direct responses to mitigating the impacts of climate change. Rebo Kailangi with this report.
The Ministry of Itaukei Affairs is all too familiar with the impact of climate change on the lives of our rural folk. Most coastal villages have been dealing with rising sea levels. The ministry now assigning conservation officer to all provinces to help people deal with this issue.
The roles of the conservation officer it's really a full-time position with the provincial officers to help villages, rural people understand the impact and also the way to conserve and to conserve the natural resources or away from being badly managed, to also properly manage their resources.
When it comes to environment protection, their role is clear. These officers will work closely with those on the ground to determine the best measures to be used.
So, in us, Itaukei, we regard this as our ecological, part of our ecological system. So it is also very important to us. The Imboli is important.
There will be government's eyes at the various provinces they are posted to. This is specifically for climate change issues.
So once we get conservation officers to the rural areas, it will link them to government, to the Ministry of Itaukei Affairs and to government. So whatever government wants in mitigation and adaptation policies, that is disseminated down to the conservation officers and to the rural areas. And whatever they find. So they also become the first point of contact of government at the provincial level.
A workshop will be held in Suva on Tuesday to introduce these officers to various stakeholders. Ndrebu Kelangi, Fiji One News.
Ahead in the news, Housing Authority sorts out Nadirua development. Welcome back. The Housing Authority of Fiji is now working on relocating 13 families at Namara settlement in Tadirua in order to complete their project. CEO Alipate Nayorosui says out of the 50 families that were staying in Namara, 27 have been relocated.
This is the Housing Authority project in Tadirua where 4 of the 5 phases has been completed. One of the project hasn't been completed yet. That's due to families still occupying land for the housing development project.
Where we have now 13 tenants on the Namara site that are yet to be relocated so we can complete the development. It's affecting us and we've been working on it on the last few months on the relocation. Last week they have been opening for us, and we're hoping to meet with the tenants maybe next week to clear these things out.
27 families who used to stay here have been given $10,000 to relocate. But for these 13 families, talks on their relocation are still underway.
For these families, we're still talking, and I think a few may need our assistance to find their new locations for them. Eh? And one of the opportunities we're looking at there now is just to give them new lots at the next phase, which is coming out in March, or maybe the 167. We are looking at that one now.
It's expected that more than 400 lots from this project will be up for grabs in March.
We're looking at 467 more lots coming out in the next 2 to 3 months. Works completed. Again, we have to liaise with the respective ministries for the titles and other necessary approvals.
The total cost of this Tadirua housing development is $35 million. Nrebukelangi, Fiji One News.
The Chinese community in Fiji will celebrate their New Year next weekend. The Year of the Horse is expected to bring strength and stability for individuals to help them make better decisions. This morning, the local Chinese community came together to start preparations a week ahead of the actual day.
Today's theme of this function, we want to use this form to introduce one Chinese very famous photographer. We use these works to show the Chinese people what they are thinking, what they are doing, what they are willing. And we want to use this form to show our friends, the local people, to know about China, a little bit, the Chinese and Chinese culture.
Meanwhile, a new website showing local news was launched by the Chinese ambassador. netfiji.com is sponsored by the Daily Chinese Mail and carries news and information about Fiji in the Chinese language. It's expected to become a window through which Chinese nationals can get a clear and overall understanding of Fiji.
I think this people to people check their view to know each other's is a good way for strengthening our friendship.
Beside providing information on the Fijian and Chinese culture, it will also have the latest development happening in both countries.
Use this form. Also, we want to introduce the Chinese culture to Fiji, and we also want to use this form to introduce the Fiji culture to China.
The Fiji Electricity Authority dam in Nandarivatu hasn't been able to maximize its output during this period of the year. FEA CEO Hasmukh Patel says that the current dry season currently experienced is affecting the Nandarivatu hydro dam. He adds that it is only supplying 15 megawatts compared to the 40 megawatts that it is expected to deliver.
But because, of the low inflows, to the dam as a result of very low rainfall up the hill there, we are not able to maximize 40 megawatts. So basically, on a daily basis, we probably are getting only 10, 15 megawatts. That also for limited number of hours during the peak period. And therefore, we are praying for more rainfall so that we are able to maximize generation out of Nandarivatu, and that will help us in actually meeting the daily requirements, and easily, you know what I'm saying, without sort of keeping us on our toes, as we say.
Now, Monosavu Dam hasn't reached the critical stage yet. FEA is crossing its fingers for rainfall sooner rather than later in order to boost water levels at the dam.
But right now at Monosavu, we are already in the wet season and we are not getting rain. And because of the high demand, we have to use the water. It's just that, come to the end of the wet season, if we don't have enough water, then it could be a little bit of a troublesome situation. So Monosavu right now has water. It's not a critical situation, but we expect more to come in so that when we come to the end of the rainy season, we have enough for the dry season.
And you can view tonight's Fiji One News Bulletin on our website at www.fijione.tv. And you can also watch previous news bulletins as well as our current affairs, business and sports shows. And also note that you can also get news headlines direct to your mobile phone. All you have to do is text SUB space FTV News to 777 and you'll receive news and sports headlines via SMS. Enjoy this free subscription up until the end of this month. From next month, charges will apply. But you can view our terms and conditions on our website. Ahead in sport, Fiji bows out in pool stages at USA Sevens. And Bar makes good start to the new season.